My dad's been digging a hole in our backyard for the past 12 years. I just found out the horrifying reason why. It all started on my 6th birthday. My mom was in the kitchen getting my cake ready while I was playing with my Legos, when out of nowhere my dad stormed into the house from work, grabbed a shovel, and went into the yard to start digging. My mom went into the yard to ask him what he was doing, but it was clear that he didn't want to talk. So after about 2 minutes of arguing, my mom just left him and told me that we were celebrating my birthday without him. I assumed he was just mad at something and decided to ignore it. But the next day, he went back into the yard to go digging. My mom said it was just stress and that he was eventually going to stop, but he didn't. Every single time he came back from work, my dad would go into the backyard and start digging in the hole. It didn't matter if it was Christmas, Thanksgiving, or even his own birthday. He'd go out there in the dark and dig for hours without stopping. One time when I was 11, I asked him what he was looking for, but all he did was just stare at me before saying, "Get the hell away from my face. I'll call you when you're ready, and you'll help me bring them back." I didn't know what he meant and assumed that he was just losing it until I found what was inside the shed. He always kept it locked. But yesterday when I went out to mow the lawn, I saw that the shed's door was slightly open. I decided to go inside to see why it was always locked. But the second I got in, I saw that the shed was covered with old boxes, half-burned photo albums, and even a shovel with my name on it. There were also jars in the corner, labeled with names I didn't recognize. What was even more weird was what was in the jars themselves. There were fingernails, clumps of hair, and even what looked like teeth. But just when I thought I'd seen it all, I saw a photo of a family in the corner of the room. It was a man, a woman, a teenage girl, and a little boy standing in front of our house. But this wasn't a recent picture. The colors of the house were brighter, the trees weren't as tall, and the backyard didn't have a hole in it yet. On the back of the photo was a date, March 14th, 1994. That was 12 years before I was born. I stayed up all night trying to figure out who the family was, but right as I was about to fall asleep, I heard some noises coming from the yard, and when I looked outside my window to see what it was, I saw my dad talking to someone at the bottom of the hole. I couldn't see who it was, but after about 2 minutes of talking, my dad told him goodnight and walked back toward the house. The next morning I woke up early and went back to the shed to see if I could find anything else, but the photo of the family was gone. In its place was a new one of me, standing at the edge of the hole he dug. I ran to my dad to ask him what the photo was, but he didn't answer me. Instead, he told me to put my boots on and to follow him. So I put them on and followed him to the edge of the pit. It was deeper than I thought, and the dirt walls had handprints all over them. Then he pulled out a bucket filled with bones and said, "These bones belong to the old family. Every time someone new moves in, the last family has to be removed." I didn't know what to say, but before I could even try to mumble something, I saw 4 people stare at me from the hole, and that's when I realized that they were the family from the photo. I turned to run, but my dad was already behind me. "You were never supposed to last this long," he said. Then he shoved me in.